To the 16th floor, I just need a little more. Rocking out to Lorna Shore, making that thing swing back and forth. Look at us, we're out of sorts. Thank God we're not keeping score. Losing our mind to cannibal chords, making that thing swing back and forth.
Yo, Vault Hunters, Augiesaint here, coming at you guys with another Borderlands 4 video. Today we are playing around with Amon again, after he got a ton of buff yesterday in the update patch. We have got ahead and made an Ordnance build finally. I've been working on this for the last couple of days, and I was going to drop it like just before yesterday, but I thought we would wait for the update to see what they do. Maybe they can change some stuff, so I don't have to like redo it. And we did get some small buffs to Ordnance, but mainly the bigger buffs were to like the whip and some of the other stuff in the Onslaught tree, as well as the Crucible tree. So stay tuned to the channel for those. Those will be coming in the next few days. So for now, we're just gonna go over Ordanance Amon. It's really flexible. You can kind of use whatever Ordnance you want. But I do have a couple of recommendations and ones that I would rate higher than others for you guys. So we're going to talk about that all in the build, as well as there'll be timestamps down below. So if you want to like skip forward to stuff, just use the timestamps and that will get you around. So without further ado, let's just hop straight into the build. So having a look at the skill tree, we're going to focus mainly on like a blue tree as well as the red tree, but you can build into the green tree. He's got so many different ways of actually building Ordnance. It's up to you. But this is what I found to be the comfiest with like HP and damage. We're going to be doing a lot of cryo damage as like bonus damage. We're going to make use of Berserk as well as some stuff in the blue trees. So if we have a look going down the blue tree, we're going to pick up 5 out of 5 in Scorched Karas just for Ordnance damage and mag size. And then these 3 points in the Thrall, I actually want to change these out and put them into Battleborn just to give us a ton more extra damage. Although all the footage you saw of us mobbing and bossing was with this setup, so we could just, you know, make that even better. I really just put this in there for early on while I was testing for like HP regen before I figured out how to get like permanent overshield pretty much. But the way we have it set up currently, we like never dip into our HP anyway, so this regen is kind of wasted. To drop those and grab Battleborn there for the increased damage. Then we grab Tail of Commoner there just to add some cryo damage to our Ordnance. It's really nice, just added extra cryo damage because we'll be boosting that over in the Onslaught tree as well. And then coming further down the tree, we go down the middle for Icy Rage, again just boosting gun damage and cryo damage. And the way we have the build set up, any gun damage gets turned into Ordnance damage as well. Not a 1-to-1, I believe it's 50%. And then we grab Primal Surge. Now this is one of the main ways of restoring ammo, because when we apply a status effect, we do have a small chance to restore ammo and shields, so that's just a really good way to get our shields to top up as well as to keep our ammo going. And then we put 1 point into Blackout because this is still bugged. It doesn't change the damage. If you put like 5 points in this or 1 point, the damage will not scale of this. So I was hoping they would fix it with the patch we just got, but it is still bugged, so you still only want to put 1 point in there, save your points to put them in other places. And then we have 1 point OVF from our class mod. Now this is really important as well, because we do want to have overshield for the things that we're going to do in the build. And this is one of the ways you can actually get it. So you really want to get at least 1 point from this on your class mods, because 3% of all your Ordnance damage will be going into overshield. So we'll pretty much just have our overshield topped up all the time. And by having your overshield, you can actually do some funky stuff with the shield that drains the shield but doesn't drain the shield, because your overshield is making it think that the shield is full. I'll explain once we get to the items, but yeah, this point is really important. So make sure you have the Explosive Cyborg class mod with, you know, at least 1 point into Ballistic Bulwark. And then we switch over to the red tree. We're going to grab 3 points in Impetus there just for some increased movement speed as well as shield regen, just so we don't feel like a slug. And then we grab 2 points into Heavy Plate, just going to give us some increased maximum shield as well as overshield. 5 points in Wheel of Storm for just increased status effect damage and duration. I believe this was buffed as well yesterday, so this is now a little bit stronger. And then we grab 1 point in Gut Punch, because the amount of Ordnance we're going to be shooting out, you don't really need more than this. The only thing that happens when you put more points in this, it increases the application chance. I think it goes up to like 30% chance on Ordnance and 60% on melee. And then we put 4 points into Bullet Storm for just a ton of extra gun damage. And then we come down to one of Amon's best skills, Berserk, as well as There Is Only Red. You need to pick up both of these, so 5 points in there, 3 points in there, because this is how you actually maintain a Berserk. You have to activate a Forge skill, so in our case, it's going to be our shield. When you activate this, it's going to give you Berserk, and then when you kill stuff with the kill skill, it's going to stack that Berserk and refresh the duration. This is a ton of extra bonus cryo damage, so make sure you are using this and like putting down your Forge skill So you can actually go ahead and proc berserk, and then you just have to get kills to maintain it. And then in the green tree, thanks to our class mod, we have 2 points over here. So our heavy Ornus has a chance to refund 1 ammo on damaging enemy. So that's why it's super important to get this cyborg class mod, because it gives you points in this. It's going to help you maintain your ammo, as well as giving you points over there for the overshield, and you also get points in this, which is our other method of maintaining ammo. And then the action skill, you can really use whatever you want, although I do like to use Scourge because you can put the shield up and have your ordnance out at the same time, as well as with the firewall. Depending on the ordnance you use, if you shoot stuff through this, like projectiles, this will actually boost your damage as well, plus you will be using it to go ahead and apply your berserk. Another option you could do early on is if you use the crucible and you get the axes, they have a pretty short cooldown. Plus you've got multiple stacks of them, so you can like throw them out. And then with your specialization over here in the gadgeteer tree with the tripwire, you can actually reduce the cooldown of your ordnance by using action skills. And if you go ahead and use the crucible for the axes, you can like throw these out. Every time you throw out an axe, it's 25% reduction on your ordnance. So if you are still early in the build, or maybe you don't have the class mod yet, you can still use this build. You just have to make sure you use crucible to actually go ahead and reset your ordnance, because you will be dropping it if you don't have the class mod to maintain it with the ammo. Otherwise, if you do have everything set up, I would suggest Scourge with the firewall. It just feels really good, especially if you are using stuff that is projectiles, especially like rocket launchers or something with the build. And you can shoot them through the firewall to gain a little bit increased damage and projectile speed for them. But there's some weird ordnance that doesn't actually go through the firewall and it bounces off it, the disc jockey being one of them. So just make sure whatever you are using does go through the firewall. So talking about the ordnance, let's have a quick look at the options available. This is what I like to use along with the disc jockey for most of things, because like the Atlan gun, it's just really good against everything. It's got super high fire rate, it's got a massive magazine, and it just tracks onto everything. So it's super lazy. Run around with it. And then the disc jockey as well. This you can just like shoot at the ground. It's going to ricochet everywhere and just kill everything. And it also maintains it pretty easily. And then another option is the bottled lightning. If the boss is not going to move, you have to make sure that you check, because you need to actually be, you need to deal damage with this before it will start regenerating your ammo. So for an earlier boss, or like if it's got travel time, the balls do have travel time to the boss. You shoot your 3 shots, and then also depending on your magazine, so you want to shoot as many as you can without emptying the mag, just so that they can start ticking and dealing damage, and then you can start shooting like crazy. I think this is like the best bossing one, if the boss is not super annoying jumping all over the place and you can hit them, so you can keep restoring your ammo. So with this, just make sure you're checking out your ammo. But if you're using like a disc jockey or an Atlan gun, you can literally just hold down and go to town. You're never gonna run out of ammo. And another really fun one as well is the streamer. This one makes like little projectile beams and you can make like a light show. And these all do go through the firewall, so that's really good to like buff their damage. However, the disc jockey, it doesn't go through the firewall, so it's gonna like bounce off the firewall. But if you use this smart and you put the firewall behind the boss, you can actually shoot the disc jockey at it to make it like ricochet and like do a loop. So if you really want to min-max it, you could do that. However, the disc jockey by itself is still really good, and that's definitely a good option as like an all-rounder. So totally up to you. You could even go ahead and use a purple ordnance. I don't have any good purple ordnances, but one of the rocket launchers that have like a big magazine, those will also be really good. I think there's someone that could shoot like 3 rockets at a time. You can actually just pick up any ordnance you want or like and then play with it with this build. That's another reason why I like it so much. So go ham on the ordnance. My recommendations is the Atlan gun, the disc jockey, and the bottled lightning. Those are some of the ones that I have the most fun with and the most success. And then for the rep kit, I just have my triple bypass here because I use this for other builds. You can again put whatever you want there. Since we won't be using our action skill, we don't really need a triple bypass. Maybe like a war paint or something with enrage or movement speed. And then the class mod, this is really important. You want to get the cyborg one like I showed you guys in the skill tree, because you want to get those ammo reload stuff there. So the green points, you want to make sure you get those, as well as 1 point in the other skill there for the overshield. We got 1 point in the ammo. The skill on the far right, if we could take that 1 point and maybe put it in the skill on the left for the damage, that'll be even better. And then the rolls on there is splash damage, gun damage, and the other roll there, maybe if we could get like movement speed or something else, that would be really beneficial. And then we've got a couple of good options for a shield. What I've been using is the what's for dinner, because of the amp, and the way that this works is when your shield is full, so when your overshield is active, you will get 25% extra shock damage with this, and the amp shot is going to keep going off as well, so that's another 25% damage, because half of that will be going to our ordnance. So, and since we have that 1 point in overshields, if you have an overshield and an amp shield on, it's just going to like keep repeating the amp over and over and over, because the shield is not taking any damage, so it's going to like super restore like really fast with the shield recharge delay. Can immediately just start rebuilding up really quickly, so you'll pretty much just have permanent uptime on the amp. And then another one that I was messing around with is the Protean Cell. This is the one when you ground slam, it's going to keep draining your shield, but you'll gain 40% increased bonus shock damage. And this is really good. So if we could get this with like an amp on it as well, just make sure when you do activate it that you only do it while you're like just about to get ready to fight. So you can keep your overshield active, because to keep your overshield active, you need to be fighting or you need to be shooting something. If you're not shooting anything, don't activate this yet. So make sure until you like just before you want to start shooting, you go ahead and activate it. And then preferably you want to try and get an amp on it, like the same we have over here on our What's What Dinner. So this one would be giving us more damage, although we just don't have amp on it, so it's technically less damage at the moment. And then for enhancements, we don't really have much over here that can do any benefit for us, except for the gun damage, because obviously all of our gun damage, well, 50% of it gets converted to ordnance damage. So just make sure you grab some gun damage on there. Now let's actually have a look at the firmware real quick. We're going to be running 3-piece gadget ahoy, mainly just for the ordnance kills grant 20% damage, as well as the ordnance damage increased by 20%. So we're getting like 40% increased damage there. Really nice. I don't really care too much about the cooldown since we're never going to really go out of our ordnance. And then I like to run high caliber because this increases your projectile speed. And as we know, some of the ordnance has some pretty slow projectile speed, especially when you're using something like the bot lightning. That does feel good. 25% is a nice boost. And we also get 10% gun damage boost. So 5% of that will be going to our ordnance damage. And then lastly, having a look at our spec tree, we're going to be going down gadget tier all the way down to the bottom. To grab fragmentation payload of your ordnance gains a chance to critically hit enemies and also gains increased ordnance critical hit damage. This is really good because of that one point we have in our skill tree where when we deal crits we shock, and then obviously so that's like free shock damage. Whenever you crit, you're going to get shock damage, you're going to get all the other buffs for like when you apply a status, so that's why those work really well together. And it's also just giving you that increased critical hit damage, which is a really good modifier. And then we have the full spectrum arsenal over there for the 50% increase from our gun damage bonuses. That's how we're getting the gun damage bonuses as ordnance. Then we grab the best defense over here. This is 30% increased damage when we are full shield or health, whichever one's the highest. In our case, it's going to be our shield. And since we have the overshield active all the time, it's pretty much going to be 30% increased damage all the time. And then lastly, we go ahead and grab bullet train because you can now hip fire while sprinting. And also does give you a little bit of increased gun damage, but it's really good with the ordnance because you can just sprint and you can shoot all the time. Obviously you don't ADS, so you just sprint and you can hip fire. Makes you quite a bit faster during combat. So that's really all there is to the ordnance build. Let me know what you guys think of it down below in the comments, and also put down there what Amon build you guys would like to see next. I think I kind of want to play around with the forge drones next because I love having a pet build, so we'll see how that goes. And then we might go have a look at the onslaughter build. So if you guys have one that you prefer me to look at first, let me know down below in the comments. If you liked the video, please drop a like and sub on the channel. It helps me out so much, and I'll catch you beautiful people in the next one. Augiesaint out.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying